Every man wants to be understood. But what most men don't realize is that being understood by a woman doesn't mean exposing every corner of his soul. In fact, the more you reveal, the more you risk losing her respect. The Stoics taught that self-mastery is not just about controlling your anger or your desires. It's also about what you choose to keep private. Some things must remain hidden, not because you're being deceptive, but because dignity, strength, and composure demand it. Now, let's be clear. Hiding is not lying. Stoicism does not teach dishonesty. It teaches discretion. It teaches you that what you reveal should uplift, inspire, and strengthen, not weaken or diminish how others see you. In relationships, especially with women, this principle becomes crucial. The moment you hand over your weaknesses, fears, and insecurities in raw, unfiltered form, you also hand over your power. And whether she admits it or not, a woman loses attraction when a man consistently bleeds his struggles onto her. In this video, we're going to uncover the 10 things a man must always hide from a woman, according to Stoicism. These are not tricks or games. They are timeless principles rooted in self-respect, strength, and discipline. Follow them, and you'll become the kind of man who earns lasting respect and deep admiration, not just temporary affection. Let's begin. 1. His weaknesses. A Stoic man never parades his weaknesses, not because he's ashamed of them, but because he knows the difference between carrying your burden silently and spilling it for pity. Stoicism teaches us that life will break you down again and again. Pain, loss, failure, these are not accidents. They are part of the human condition. But here's the truth. Your measure as a man is not in whether you suffer, but in how you carry that suffering. When you complain, when you make your pain the centerpiece of conversation, what you're really doing is asking someone else, often a woman, to carry what only you can carry. You're seeking pity instead of building resilience. And pity is the enemy of respect. The Stoics insisted on endurance, patience, and inner strength. Marcus Aurelius himself faced plague, betrayal, and endless war, yet wrote in his journal, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." This doesn't mean you must become stone cold or deny your emotions. On the contrary, it means you master them. You can acknowledge weakness privately, reflect on it, and use it as fuel for growth. But you never hand it over for validation. Why? Because a woman may love you deeply, but attraction is built on your ability to remain grounded when storms come. If she sees you crumble under pressure, if you turn her into your emotional crutch, she may comfort you, but inside, something shifts. Respect fades. And once respect is gone, love cannot stand. The Stoic man reframes his weaknesses as stepping stones. Every hardship becomes a chance to forge character. Every setback becomes material for growth. And because of this, he doesn't need to broadcast them. He transforms them. So, the first rule is this: never show your weaknesses as wounds. Show them only later, if at all, as scars, proof that you endured, conquered, and grew stronger. That's what a woman admires. That's what the Stoics meant by fortitude. Lesson 2, his mistakes. Every man you meet carries a shadow of his past. A trail of wrong turns, broken promises, missed chances, and decisions that carve scars into his life. His mistakes are not random. They are fingerprints of his humanity. And yet, this is where most people fail to understand a man. They judge him for his mistakes, instead of seeing what those mistakes have built inside him. The Stoics taught us that to err is human. Seneca, one of the great Roman Stoics, said it best: "No man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom is not handed down. It is forged in the fire of failure." That means every mistake a man has made, every foolish word spoken, every wrong path chosen, every time he lost what mattered, is part of the crucible that makes him who he is. But here's the problem. Most men are haunted by their mistakes. He might look strong, confident, unshaken, but deep inside, those moments replay in his mind like ghosts he cannot silence. The deal he walked away from, the woman he let slip through his fingers, the job he quit too early, the time he betrayed himself by taking the easy path. These mistakes eat at him. A woman who truly wants to understand a man must learn this. His mistakes are not his identity. They are his teachers. If you love him, don't weaponize his past against him. Don't turn his errors into ammunition. Instead, watch what he does with them. Because a man who learns from his mistakes will never be the same man again. Now here's where Stoicism sharpens the lesson. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every mistake is a test of reaction. One man falls into despair, another into bitterness. But the Stoic man, the man you can trust, takes the lesson, absorbs the pain, and becomes more disciplined, more aware, more alive. Let's get brutally honest. Men's mistakes usually fall into three categories. Mistakes of pride. He thought he knew better. He didn't. He thought he was invincible. He wasn't. These are the mistakes of arrogance, and they humble him. Mistakes of desire. He chased something shiny. A woman, money, status, pleasure, and it left him emptier than before. These mistakes sting the deepest because they expose what he truly values. Mistakes of fear. He froze when he should have acted. He stayed silent when he should have spoken. These are the regrets that weigh heavy on his chest at night because they are reminders of cowardice, and no man can forgive himself easily for that. Now ask yourself, which mistake does he regret the most? Not the one he admits out loud. That's usually a softened version. No, the one he hides. The one he can't forgive himself for. The one that made him question who he really is. That is where his true self lies. And here's the paradox. You cannot save him from his mistakes. You cannot erase them, rewrite them, or carry their weight. He must do that himself. But if you're wise, if you understand the Stoic truth, you will see how his mistakes are shaping him right now. You'll know when to give him space to wrestle with them, and when to remind him that they don't define him. A man who has never made mistakes is dangerous because he has never been humbled. He doesn't know the sharp edge of life. But a man who has fallen, failed, and risen again, that man carries wisdom in his scars. So remember this. His mistakes are not shameful. They are proof that he is living, learning, and becoming. If you want to understand a man deeply, don't just ask about what he's proud of. Ask him what he regrets. Ask him what he wishes he could redo. Ask him where he failed. And then listen, not to the words, but to the silence between them. That silence will tell you everything. Lesson 3. His dreams. Dreams. Every man has them, even if he hides them behind silence or a tough face. Some are big, loud, and burning, like building an empire, leaving a legacy, conquering the world. Others are quiet, fragile, and deeply personal, like the dream of peace, of being truly understood, or creating a family he can pour his heart into. But here's the thing. A man's dreams are not just about ambition. They're about identity. A man without dreams is a man who's slowly dying inside. He might still breathe, still walk, still laugh, but his spirit becomes dull, like a sword left to rust. And if you pay attention, his dreams will tell you everything about his soul. Now, Stoics like Marcus Aurelius warned us, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Translation? What he aims at in life defines who he is becoming. If his dreams are shallow, like chasing approval, clout, or fleeting pleasures, his soul shrinks. But if his dreams are anchored in virtue, discipline, and contribution, he rises to the level of greatness, even if no one else sees it. Here's the tragedy, though. Most men abandon their dreams, not because they didn't have the fire, but because the world kept pouring cold water on them. Society told him to play safe. Friends laughed at his ideas. A partner told him he was crazy. Parents warned him not to take risks. And slowly, little by little, he tucked his dreams away into the darkest corners of his mind. But listen carefully. A woman who loves him will notice these buried dreams. She'll see the way his eyes light up when he talks about something he once wanted but gave up on. She'll notice the excitement in his voice when he allows himself, for just a moment, to imagine what life could be. And here's the test of love. Does she laugh at those dreams, or does she hold them sacred? Because for a man, sharing his dreams is almost like standing naked. It's raw. It's vulnerable. He risks being mocked, dismissed, or abandoned for thinking too big or too small. A Stoic man learns to guard his dreams like a fire in the wind. He doesn't parade them for approval. He doesn't seek validation. He keeps them burning quietly, fueling his discipline step by step, day by day. because Epictetus said it best. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. And in the same way, don't explain your dreams endlessly, build them. But here's the paradox. A man who finds a right woman, the one who listens without judgment, who respects his vision, who doesn't need to understand every detail but simply believes in his path, suddenly feels his dreams expand again. She becomes not the source of the dream, but the quiet companion who helps him carry it through the storms. If you really want to know a man, don't just ask him what he's doing. Ask him what he's dreaming. If you want to measure his soul, don't just look at his money, his status, or his daily grind. Look at what he's secretly planning, what he's fighting for in silence, what he's willing to suffer for. That's where his essence lives. And here's where Stoicism adds its final reminder. Dream big, but stay detached. Build with fire, but don't cling with desperation. Because fortune, time, and fate may take everything away. But no one, not even death, can take the man you became while chasing those dreams. Still laugh, but his spirit becomes dull, like a sword left to rust. And if you pay attention, his dreams will tell you everything about his soul. Now, Stoics like Marcus Aurelius warn us, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Translation: what he aims at in life defines who he is becoming. If his dreams are shallow, like chasing approval, clout, or fleeting pleasures, his soul shrinks. But if his dreams are anchored in virtue, discipline, and contribution, he rises to the level of greatness, even if no one else sees it. Here's the tragedy, though. Most men abandon their dreams, not because they didn't have the fire, but because the world kept pouring cold water on them. Society told him to play safe. Friends laughed at his ideas. A partner told him he was crazy. Parents warned him not to take risks. And slowly, little by little, he tucked his dreams away into the darkest corners of his mind. But listen carefully. A woman who loves him will notice these buried dreams. She'll see the way his eyes light up when he talks about something he once wanted but gave up on. She'll notice the excitement in his voice when he allows himself, for just a moment, to imagine what life could be. And here's the test of love. Does she laugh at those dreams, or does she hold them sacred? Because for a man, sharing his dreams is almost like standing naked. It's raw. It's vulnerable. He risks being mocked, dismissed, or abandoned for thinking too big or too small. A Stoic man learns to guard his dreams like a fire in the wind. He doesn't parade them for approval. He doesn't seek validation. He keeps them burning quietly, fueling his discipline step by step, day by day. Because Epictetus said it best. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. And in the same way, don't explain your dreams endlessly, build them. But here's the paradox. A man who finds the right woman, the one who listens without judgment, who respects his vision, who doesn't need to understand every detail but simply believes in his path, suddenly feels his dreams expand again. She becomes not the source of the dream, but the quiet companion who helps him carry it through the storms. If you really want to know a man, don't just ask him what he's doing. Ask him what he's dreaming. If you want to measure his soul, don't just look at his money, his status, or his daily grind. Look at what he's secretly planning, what he's fighting for in silence, what he's willing to suffer for. That's where his essence lives. And here's where Stoicism adds its final reminder. Dream big, but stay detached. Build with fire, but don't cling with desperation. Because fortune, time, and fate may take everything away. But no one, not even death, can take the man you became while chasing those dreams. Lesson 3. His dreams. Every man, no matter how tough he looks, how silent he stays, or how unshakable he pretends to be, carries dreams within him. Some are small, like wanting to live in peace, away from chaos. Others are massive, like building a business, creating wealth, traveling the world, or leaving behind a legacy that outlives him. A man's dreams are his fuel. They are what get him up in the morning and what keep him awake at night. And here's where most people get it wrong. A man's dreams are not always about money, power, or fame. Sometimes they're about freedom. Sometimes they're about proving something to himself. Sometimes they're about protecting the people he loves. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, had a dream too, not of glory, but of living in harmony with nature and virtue, of being remembered not for his throne, but for his wisdom. Epictetus, a man born a slave, dreamed of freedom, not just physical freedom, but freedom of the soul. See, a man's dreams reveal his truest self. And this is why when a woman touches his dreams, not by mocking them, not by dismissing them, but by respecting them, it pierces deeper than love itself. Because it's one thing to be loved for who you are today, but it's another thing to be loved for who you want to become tomorrow. But here's the tragic part. Most men never share their dreams out loud. They bury them because society laughs at them, because past lovers dismiss them, because friends said, be realistic. And slowly, they learn to keep their biggest ambitions locked in their own heart. If a woman is wise, she will notice his unspoken dreams, the way his eyes light up when he talks about a passion, the quiet fire in his voice when he imagines what if, the restless energy when he feels caged in routine. That's when she sees the real man, the man behind the mask. But here's the Stoic warning. Never confuse dreams with illusions. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." A man can dream endlessly, but if he wastes his years on trivial distractions, those dreams rot inside him. The man who truly respects himself and who is respected by others is the one who disciplines his dreams with action. So here's the truth. If a man is weak, his dreams consume him. If a man is wise, he consumes his dreams and turns them into reality. And when a woman stands by him in that journey, not handing him his goals, not doing the work for him, but standing firm as he fights, she becomes unforgettable, not because she gave him dreams, but because she believed in the ones he already had. That belief is rare. Lesson 6, his pains. If you really want to know a man, don't just look at how he laughs. Look at how he hurts. See, a man's pain is not always loud. It's not always him breaking down, screaming, or showing the world that he's suffering. Most of the time, a man's pain is silent. It's buried deep inside him, under a forced smile, behind a casual "I'm fine." And that's what makes it so dangerous. Because while women often have outlets for their emotions, friends they can cry to, a society that allows vulnerability, men are often conditioned to suffer in silence. From the time we're little boys, we're told, don't cry, be strong, man up. So what happens? Men grow up learning to lock away their pain. And yet, Stoicism teaches us that pain, no matter how silent, is not an enemy. It is a teacher. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. If it is unendurable, it will end soon." Think about that. Pain is either something you can bear or something temporary. Either way, it does not define you. But when a man avoids his pain, when he runs from it, when he hides it even from himself, that's when it controls him. Now, let's get practical. There are different kinds of pain a man carries. Physical pain, the exhaustion from grinding day and night to provide, to protect, to prove himself. Emotional pain, heartbreak, betrayal, rejection, loneliness. Existential pain, that gnawing sense of, am I enough? Am I living the life I was meant to? And here's the catch. Women, especially the one he truly loves, often see this pain even when he thinks he's hiding it. The way his eyes look tired, the way his voice trembles for just a second, the way he zones out when he thinks no one's watching. A man's pain leaks through his armor. But here's where Stoicism comes in. Pain should never be wasted. A Stoic man does not drown in it, nor does he deny it. He uses it as fuel. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Pain is not the end. It's the training ground. It's the forge where your character is built. So let me ask you this. When pain comes, do you numb it with distractions? Do you drown it with alcohol, meaningless relationships, endless scrolling, fake smiles? Or do you face it, sit with it, and ask, what lesson is this pain trying to teach me? Because here's the truth. A man who hides his pain becomes weaker. But a man who confronts his pain, who takes that suffering and turns into discipline, wisdom, and clarity, becomes unbreakable. Remember this. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. The Stoic does not escape pain. He transforms it. So, My brother, the next time you feel that weight in your chest, that ache in your soul, don't run from it. Let it shape you. Let it refine you. Let it make you stronger than the man you were yesterday. Because in the end, your pain is not your curse. It's your path to greatness. Lesson 7. His pleasures. A man's pleasures are more than just the obvious things. Sports, cars, a night out with friends. Those are surface level. To truly understand a man, you need to see what quietly lights him up when no one is watching. Stoicism teaches us that pleasure is not inherently bad, but desire without control is dangerous. A man's true character is revealed in how he seeks and manages his pleasures. Think about it. Does he chase momentary thrills that leave him empty? Or does he find joy in simple, meaningful moments? A morning run, a book that challenges him, a conversation that stretches his mind? The Stoic man does not allow pleasure to enslave him. He enjoys, he appreciates. He takes what life offers, but he never depends on it for his happiness. Why does this matter to a woman? Because a man's pleasures tell you what he values. A man who finds joy in fleeting, shallow things is searching for meaning outside himself. A man who finds joy in growth, in learning, in deep connection. He has internal strength. But here's the subtlety. Most men hide certain pleasures. He may pretend he's not interested in some things to appear stoic or strong, but those private joys tell the truth about his inner world. The music he secretly loves. The hobby he dedicates himself to when no one is watching. The moments of silence where he reflects and feels at peace. A stoic woman, or anyone trying to understand him, should notice these hidden joys. They are the soft spots in a man's armor, the secret gardens that nurture his soul. Pleasure is not weakness. Ignorance of pleasure is. When you understand a man's pleasures, you don't just know what makes him happy. You understand what motivates him, what he will protect, what he will fight for, and what he will never give up. And here's the truth. A man who can experience pleasure without losing himself is rare. He enjoys life fully but never depends on it. That is the mark of a master of himself, a man who is aligned with Stoic wisdom. So watch closely. See what he secretly cherishes. See what gives him a spark. Because his pleasures, quiet, hidden, personal, are as revealing as his fears, pains, and mistakes combined. Lesson 8. His love. Love is the most misunderstood, underestimated force in a man's life. Many think men are simple. He loves or he doesn't. But Stoicism teaches us that real love is disciplined, intentional, and measured. A man's love is not always loud. It doesn't always come with grand declarations or endless texts. Often it's quiet, patient, and revealed through action, not words. Here's the thing. A man will show you love in ways you might not even notice, because his love is guarded. Stoicism teaches restraint, and a man practicing this wisdom won't let emotions run unchecked. So how does a man show love? Protection of his time and energy. A man who loves prioritizes. He will make space for you in a life filled with responsibilities, obligations, and distractions. Time is precious. Giving it freely is a gift. Support without expectation. Love is not a transaction. A Stoic man helps, uplifts, and encourages. But he doesn't do it to get validation. He gives because it's the right thing, not because it makes him look good. Consistency over drama. Words can be cheap. Anyone can say, "I love you." A man's love is proven by how he shows up day after day, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unnoticed. Respect for boundaries. A man who loves does not demand, control, or manipulate. He respects your autonomy and freedom because he understands that true love cannot exist in chains. But beware, a man who does not understand his own heart may miscommunicate love or even hide it entirely. He may push away, act distant, or seem indifferent, but often these are signs of caution, not absence. Stoicism teaches that love is a choice, not a dependency. A man who loves well does not cling, he does not obsess, he does not demand constant reassurance. He loves fully, but with clarity and self-mastery. And here's the ultimate truth. A man's love can be as strong and enduring as steel or as fragile as glass. The difference lies in his discipline, his self-awareness, and his ability to balance passion with reason. So, if you want to truly know a man, don't just listen to his words. Watch his actions, his priorities, his respect, and his quiet sacrifices. That is where real love lives. Lesson 9, his legacy. A man's legacy is not just about money, fame, or status. Stoicism teaches that what a man leaves behind is the truest reflection of who he is. It is a culmination of his actions, his choices, and the values he stands for when no one is watching. Ask yourself, what does he want to be remembered for? Impact over applause. A man focused on legacy seeks to create something meaningful, not just impressive. He wants to leave the world a little better than he found it, through guidance, creation, or influence. Consistency over convenience. Legacy is built quietly, day by day. It's not about a single heroic moment. It's about the small, disciplined actions that accumulate over a lifetime. Integrity over approval. A man who understands his own principles does not bend for recognition. He lives by his values, even when it's unpopular. That is the mark of a lasting legacy. Teaching and mentoring. True legacy is not just wealth or objects, it's wisdom passed on. A man leaves his mark by shaping lives, guiding others, and inspiring growth. Here's a Stoic twist. A man who chases only wealth, power, or fleeting pleasures often forgets himself. But a man who cultivates character, love, and purpose leaves a legacy that echoes far beyond his lifetime. For a woman, or anyone trying to understand him, his legacy is the clearest lens into his true priorities. Observe where he invests his energy, what he protects fiercely, how he talks about the future. A man's legacy is his silent statement to the world. This is who I was. This is what I stood for. This is what I will not compromise. Lesson 10. His wisdom and Stoic conclusion. Every man carries a mix of strength, vulnerability, ambition, and restraint. Stoicism teaches us that to truly understand him, you must look beyond appearances, beyond words, and beyond fleeting emotions. The 10 lessons we've explored reveal the hidden layers of a man. His weaknesses. Every man has vulnerabilities. Recognizing them is not about exploiting them, but understanding the human heart behind the armor. His mistakes. A man's errors are lessons in disguise. His missteps teach patience, compassion, and clarity about what truly matters. His dreams. Aspirations reveal his deepest desires. They illuminate the life he strives to create, not just the one he shows the world. His feelings. A man's emotions are not always obvious. Stoicism reminds us that true strength lies in self-awareness and restraint. His secrets. Every man carries inner truths he may never voice. These hidden corners shape his choices, his love, and his fears. His pains. The wounds he bears silently reveal resilience, humility, and capacity for empathy. His pleasures, joys, passions, and indulgences highlight what energizes him, what inspires him, and what makes life worth living. His love. Real love is quiet, patient, and consistent. It is shown in actions, loyalty, and respect, not just words. His legacy. Beyond the present, a man seeks meaning. His legacy reflects his values, his discipline, and the impact he wishes to leave on the world. His wisdom. A man's life is a culmination of all these lessons. True wisdom is found in balance, discipline with passion, restraint with love, and action with purpose. The grand Stoic truth. When you see a man through this lens, you no longer judge by appearances or fleeting behaviors. You understand the whole spectrum of his human experience. His fears, joys, loves, ambitions, and regrets. Stoicism teaches that every action, every silence, every choice has meaning. A man who masters himself is not perfect. He is aware, disciplined, and intentional. And a woman, or anyone seeking to understand him, will see beyond the surface as she approaches with clarity, patience, and respect. Ultimately, knowing a man is not about control. It's about perception, empathy, and insight. By observing, listening, and reflecting, you honor both his humanity and your own. Remember, a man's value is revealed not in what he says, but in how he lives, how he loves, and what he leaves behind. That is a Stoic lens through which all relationships, all choices, and all actions must be understood. Observe more than you judge. Value actions over words. Respect autonomy, cherish love, and recognize purpose. Seek the depth beneath the surface, and you'll uncover a man's true essence. This is not just about understanding a man. It's about cultivating wisdom, self-mastery, and clarity in all human interactions.